I've got some troubling news about England's royal family.
Recently, the British royal family has once again found itself spiraling into a new wave of crisis, and this time all eyes are fixed on the tense relationship between Prince William and his stepmother's family. On a cold, rainy night, what seemed like a simple accident unveiled an entire chain of secrets. The trunk of Tom Parker Bowles's car, the son of Queen Camilla, was unexpectedly opened, and from it emerged never-before-seen relics tied directly to Princess Diana. Diaries, handwritten letters, even highly sensitive evidence, all of it resting like a time bomb beneath the throne. The public is stunned, left with pressing questions. Why would Tom possess such explosive materials, and could Camilla herself be implicated in hiding or even manipulating these truths? Meanwhile, Prince William, the heir to the throne, is believed to be holding evidence powerful enough to overturn the entire situation, including top-secret data that could target Camilla directly. If verified, this would mark a historic turning point, the first time a reigning queen could be forced to face the truth from within her very own family. And so, the greatest question lingering in the minds of the British people: could this be the beginning of the end for the so-called Camilla reign? The rain drummed relentlessly against the eaves of the suburban mansion, each drop echoing like the pulse of an impending storm. It was a hushed September night in London, and the deserted streets seemed to murmur the secrets of the powerful. Tom Parker Bowles, Camilla's son from her first marriage, had just departed from a discreet gathering at an old villa on the city's outskirts. This wasn't one of the dazzling royal galas adorned with chandeliers and forced laughter. It was a sanctuary for the privileged and the broken, a place where they came to escape the heavy shadow of royal blood. Behind the wheel of his sleek black Bentley, the taste of French wine still clinging to his breath, Tom was halfway home when the engine sputtered and died in the middle of the road. Frustration surged. "Not now, damn it," he snapped, slamming his fist on the steering wheel. His eyes were bloodshot, his hands unsteady as he reached for his phone to call for help. But before he could, another response arrived faster than expected. A patrol of royal guards conducting their routine security rounds for the nearby elite estates had intercepted the distress signal from his car's tracking system. Within minutes, their tow truck appeared under a blaze of headlights slicing through the rain. From the vehicle stepped Captain Reginald Hayes, a seasoned officer with a silver-streaked goatee and eyes hardened by years of service to the crown. He was no ordinary guard. He had served since the days when Charles was still the Prince of Wales and had seen more royal scandals than most could imagine. "Sir, we'll take care of it," he told Tom in a steady, commanding tone. Tom gave a terse nod, retreating into the downpour, unaware that destiny itself had already arrived. As the guards inspected the car, standard procedure required opening the trunk to reach the spare battery. But that simple act would alter the course of everything. When Hayes lifted the trunk, his flashlight fell upon an antique wooden box carved with royal insignia, its surface gleaming faintly beneath a damp coat. It looked centuries old, too deliberate, too exposed, as if Tom never expected anyone to question what lay inside. Hayes hesitated, his instincts sharpening. Carefully, he raised the lid and froze. Inside lay an aged, leather-bound journal marked with a trembling W. The handwriting was unmistakably that of a young Prince William. The yellowed pages revealed entries filled with anguish and fear. Today, Camilla mocked Mother again. "I'm scared she'll take Father away, take everything. Mother, I miss you." The childish scrawl, blurred by long-dried tears, pierced Hayes like a knife to the chest. Beside the diary was a bundle of old letters, the ink faded, but the handwriting alive with Grace Diana's unmistakable script. He unfolded one. "My dearest son, I'm sending you the sapphire ring in this box, so that one day you may give it to the one you truly love. Remember, love will always conquer power, no matter how cruel that power may be." The words trembled with both tenderness and tragedy, and Hayes found his throat tightening. Then came the photographs, digital prints of a youthful William with Rose Hanbury, their expressions intimate, their eyes locked in forbidden affection. The images looked painfully authentic, tangible proof of the whispers that had once scandalized the monarchy. And at the bottom of the box lay a velvet compartment, empty, but unmistakably shaped to hold a ring the same sapphire Diana had once worn, now resting on Kate Middleton's hand. Hayes shut the box abruptly, a shiver coursing through him despite the pounding rain. This wasn't a collection of mementos, it was a bomb powerful enough to shatter the monarchy. Without a word to Tom, he turned to his men and murmured, "Take it straight to Kensington. Only Prince William must see this." The guards loaded the car in silence, leaving Tom standing alone in the rain, uneasy and unaware of what had been taken from him. At Kensington Palace, William sat in his study, the soft light of a desk lamp tracing the fatigue etched on his face after a long day of state meetings. For a brief moment, he wasn't the heir to the throne. He was a father reading his daughter Charlotte a bedtime story. When Captain Hayes entered, pale and solemn, William looked up in concern. "What is it, Hayes? You look as though you've seen a ghost." Hayes said nothing. He simply placed the wooden box on the desk. William opened it, and his world collapsed. He turned the fragile pages, lifted the letters, his expression tightening with disbelief and anguish. How did Tom get these?" His voice trembled. The diary revived old wounds, the dread of Camilla's shadow, the agony of losing his mother. Diana's letter hit him hardest, the ring her last blessing, now mocked by that empty space in the box. He sank heavily into his chair, his mind racing. This wasn't just family history, it was a weapon aimed at him, his wife, his children. And the hand behind it was Tom's Camilla's own son, the echo of every childhood nightmare he'd ever known. Hayes William said at last, his voice low, but charged with fury, "Not a word leaves this room. But tonight, we start digging. Every truth, every shadow, it begins now." Outside, the rain kept falling steady and mournful, like Diana's tears echoing through the years, heralding the storm yet to come. By the next morning, as pale sunlight filtered weakly through London's overcast skies, William had not closed his eyes once. He sat alone in a hidden basement office beneath Kensington Palace, a chamber known only to a handful of trusted guards. On the table before him rested the wooden box, ominous and silent like a relic cursed by memory. He knew he couldn't afford to react impulsively. As the future king, emotion was a luxury he could not indulge. The diary, he needed no verification. Those words were his own, penned by trembling hands in the sleepless nights that followed his mother's death in Paris. Each sentence bore the weight of grief and fear. To see them stolen, exploited, it made his skin crawl. But the rest of what the box contained, that was uncertain. Potentially a snare, a forgery designed to destroy. He needed proof. Without delay, William summoned an expert from the Royal Archives, Dr. Eleanor Voss, a precise woman in her 50s, with silver-rimmed spectacles and a scholar's poise. She was famed for her expertise in forensic document analysis, having authenticated thousands of royal artifacts. Within an hour, she arrived, her briefcase filled with specialized tools, ink analyzers, digital microscopes, and a carbon dating scanner capable of revealing the age of paper fibers. She began with the letters, Diana's letters. Turning the pages delicately, Voss inhaled the scent of aged parchment, her sharp eyes narrowing. The handwriting. Flawless, she murmured, scanning the page through her equipment. Paper composition 1990s cotton bond. Ink Parker Quink Black. Identical to known samples from the princess's correspondence. No forgery indicators. Her voice softened, breaking its professional cadence. Your Highness, these are genuine. These are your mother's final words. William's chest tightened. He picked up one letter, tracing the cursive lines with shaking fingers. "The sapphire ring, I'm sending it in this box, so that one day you may give it to the one you love, as proof that love can overcome power." Her words felt alive, burning into him. That ring had been her final token of love, secretly entrusted to a loyal servant, weeks before the crash in Paris. And now the thought that it had passed into Tom's hands, Camilla's son's hands, made his blood run cold. The empty velvet slot at the bottom of the box seemed to sneer at him, suggesting that the real sapphire ring, the same one he had placed on Kate's finger in 2010, had been taken. Or worse, that someone wanted him to believe it was. His mind spiraled back to their wedding day. Kate radiant, the ring gleaming beneath Westminster's golden light. And now the thought of that symbol of love, and his mother's legacy reduced to bait in a political trap, filled him with rage and dread. His voice broke. She wrote these when she knew her end was near," he whispered. "And now they're using her words to destroy us." Voss then turned her attention to the photographs, those scandalous images of William and Rose Hanbury. Under the digital microscope, she examined the pixels and light distribution, her tone turning clinical again. "Composite," she declared firmly. "Lighting direction and shadows inconsistent. Expert manipulation, recent perhaps within the last year. High-quality fabrication, good enough to mislead the public, but still fake." The confirmation made William's fury ignite. The infamous Rose Hanbury affair rumors of 2019, once baseless, had now been weaponized into tangible lies. Tom had taken gossip and turned it into ammunition. William slammed his fist onto the desk, the sound cracking through the room like thunder. His face flushed, and his blue eyes, his mother's eyes, blazed with wrath. "Tom, does he think he can play this game with me? My mother's pain, my private wounds, they're not his to exploit." He stood abruptly, pacing the confined space like a predator in a cage. Visions of Kate flashed in his mind, her warmth, her dignity now, at risk of being dragged through the mud of fabricated scandal. And behind it all loomed Charles, his father, who had chosen love with Camilla over repairing the family Diana had left broken. The realization stung like betrayal renewed. At last he turned sharply toward Hayes, who stood silently near the door, waiting. "Investigate Tom," William ordered, his tone low and unyielding. "Every connection, every conversation, every place he's been. Find out where these came from and who's behind him. Leave nothing unchecked." The command was iron hard, but beneath it throbbed a deep ache, a son who still wanted to believe that his family wasn't poisoning itself from within. Hayes gave a solemn nod before departing to carry out the secret mission. Alone again, William lifted the letter, rereading his mother's final line, "Love can conquer power." He whispered into the empty room, "I won't let them win, Mum. Not ever." But as his voice faded, the truth lingered like a chill. This was no longer just about lost relics or forged scandals. It was a war for the soul of the monarchy, and William's heart was already bleeding on the battlefield. Pale sunlight seeped through the windows of Clarence House, but the atmosphere inside was leaden and still. Tom Parker Bowles awoke with a throbbing headache, the legacy of last night's wine and darker intentions, and he made his way to the garage to find his Bentley where he had left it after being towed back. With hope that was already waning, he flung the trunk open. The wooden box was gone, nothing but damp dust and the metallic chill of the empty compartment remained. Color drained from his face and then flared into a hot, furious red. He struck the side of the car with a punishing blow that rang through the space. Impossible, who would dare, he spat, rage bubbling into panic. That box had never been a mere curiosity to him, but a carefully assembled arsenal, years of bribed confidences, clandestine meetings with eager tabloid hands, and the intimate trophies William's diary, Diana's letters that Tom believed would topple the proud cousin on the throne. Now it had vanished like smoke. He stormed into the house and phoned the roadside crew from the previous night, then thundered down to the guard post in person, only to be met with polite denials and empty shoulders. "We towed the car, sir." "We did not open the trunk," they said, their faces blank. Hayes and his men, reassigned with surgical speed by William, had already erased the paper trail. Tom's furious cry, "Who touched my car? Who took that box?" bounced uselessly off marble and silence. White-hot anger consumed him. He kicked an antique porcelain vase to the floor. It shattered into glittering shards that skittered like the fragments of his plans. Bursting through doors, he pushed into his mother's sitting room without waiting for permission. Camilla poised at her tea table and composed in that practiced manner which had long unnerved rivals, regarded him with a coolness that sharpened into attention when she saw his state. "Mother, William has everything," Tom blurted, voice cracking with a mix of hysteria and despair. "The wooden box disappeared last night. If he opens it, if he knows, everything's finished." He collapsed into a chair, hands fisted against his temples, angry tears streaking down a face that belonged to a public figure, yet in this instant belonged only to the abandoned son of scandal. Camilla set her teacup down with unruffled calm and listened her reply as chilling as the frost of winter air. "Steady yourself, Tom. This is not an end. It is an opening." Moving to the window to watch the roses in the garden tremble in a light breeze, she explained with that thin, worldly smile the strategy she favored. William would not rush to expose the contents. He feared public scandal above most things, so their advantage lay in planting suspicion rather than revealing truth. Doubt, she insisted, would do the work faster than any confession. As morning dimness settled over them like a cloak, mother and son began to plot. First, they would breathe new life into the old Rose Hanbury whispers, not by producing incontrovertible proof, but by insinuating a scandalous possibility, a child who resembled a young William, photographed and leaked to tabloids to let rumor do the rest. Next, they would strike at Kate's reputation. Tom suggested fabricating a diary in which Kate purportedly confessed that her marriage was motivated by ambition rather than love, a narrative intended to wound William at his most vulnerable. Camilla approved each step with the petting calm of someone handling a viper, undermine the trust that anchored William, and he would destroy himself in his scramble to protect what mattered most. When Tom left the room, hatred still burned in his chest, but beneath it there was a colder, more unsettling recognition. His mother was orchestrating a perilous gambit, and he, famous chef and son of scandal, though he was only one of her pieces to be sacrificed on her board. While Tom and Camilla spun their delicate barbed plans within the hushed tea-scented rooms of Clarence House, William was far from idle. He was heir to the throne, hardened by old wounds and schooled in battle, and the moment the wooden box reached his hands, he set in motion Phantom, the monarchy's most covert investigative unit. The team was compact and lethal. Alistair Thorne, a former MI5 operative seasoned in surveillance and grilling suspects. Elena Vasquez, a cyber virtuoso born in Mexico who could slip into secure systems like a phantom. And Captain Reginald Hayes, the guard whose reassignment had placed him at William's disposal. They moved like shadows across London, black, unmarked cars slipping through the streets as if they had no owner. That afternoon, the first encrypted briefing arrived. Hayes read aloud inside a soundproof room, Tom Parker Bowles, born 1979, Camilla's son, by Andrew Parker Bowles. Publicly, he was a celebrity chef with Tom's Kitchen best-selling cookbooks and television appearances, a household name tied to royal cuisine. Privately, however, he was combustible, a volatile temper booze-soaked nights, and a fixation on the injustice of his lineage. The screen displayed grainy security stills of Tom at private high society gatherings, glass in hand, and anger writ across his face. He doesn't only vent, Vasquez said sharply from her covert Shoreditch workspace during the secure video link. We've traced suspicious payments transfers from his wine business accounts to several media outlets. Then Thorne played the damning audio, a 2018 tape, lifted from surveillance at Annabelle's in Mayfair, the club, where London's elite blurred memory with music. Under faint jazz, Tom's slurred rant erupted accusations hurled like grenades. Charles ruined my family. He and my mother cheated for years, and I've been left the laughingstock, a bastard among palace banquets. Now he's King Charles III, waving to the crowds, and I've got nothing. William has everything, title, a fairy tale, wife, children, while I'm stuck with French dishes and nothing. A companion's taunting laugh, then the crash of glass as Tom smashed his tumbler. The room held its breath. William's hands tightened until his knuckles blanched nails biting into flesh. The tirade scraped open old wounds, the sleepless nights at Kensington, the sight of two motherless boys watching their father reach for Camilla Diana's anguished solitude. I know that emptiness, he murmured, voice hoarse with memory, the agony of losing a mother, the betrayal of a father. Yet he recognized the other truth. Tom was both product and perpetrator of familial fracture. His hurt had curdled into malice. The dossier deepened. A surreptitious family recording from 2023 surfaced Camilla, urging Charles in a private discussion to grant Tom a title and a share of the estate. Charles refusing, insisting tradition could not be broken. That refusal, the investigators concluded, had become a live ember in Tom's resentment. The paper trail then turned darker. Payment charts traced a £50,000 cash bribe handed off in a dim Soho cafe to a palace official named Reginald Fitz, who'd been blackmailed with compromising images to access William's private archives. The diary itself, the leather notebooks taken from a safe once housed at the old Clarence house. Diana's letter investigators found was procured at a clandestine Geneva auction this April, purchased with proceeds from wine investments tied to a Russian collector with former KGB ties. The Rose Hanbury images were not authentic, but products of a Bucharest-based freelance hacker the work procured through an anonymous crypto wallet and invoiced as high-end photo editing for €15,000. This is incontrovertible, Hayes declared in a tone that carried the weight of a judge's gavel. Tom seeks not merely to harm you, he intends to drag the monarchy into ruin. His resentment is the fire. That wooden box is the accelerant. William stood and studied a pinboard mapped with red dots charting Tom's movements. His expression was composed but resolute. I see him, he said softly. I felt that fury once toward Camilla, but he chose a destructive path. We will stop it. He ordered the team to intensify surveillance, every meeting recorded, every call intercepted. Outside the palace walls, London went about its unknowing life. Beneath the city's polished surface, a covert war churned. William watched the streets below, heavy with the understanding that Tom's motives were rooted not only in spite, but in the reverberations of past failures, and that breaking that cycle might demand a price he was prepared to pay. Tom and Camilla's scheme unfurled with ruthless speed, each move harsher than the last. Less than a day after their meeting at Clarence House, the first bomb went off. A lurid tabloid known as The Daily Scandal, one of the papers Tom quietly financed through anonymous channels, ran a splash photo across its front page. A 7-year-old boy with tousled blonde hair and a rounded face, uncannily reminiscent of a young William captured at play in a park with a ball and a guileless smile. The headline screamed for attention. The forgotten child, Rose Hanbury and Prince William's secret is this his love. Child, the piece itself made no direct accusation. That subtlety was Camilla's cunning. Instead, it planted a seed by raising questions. Insiders suggest Rose Hanbury, an old acquaintance of Prince William, may have given birth in secret 7 years ago. No DNA, no paperwork, just troubling similarities. Why does this child resemble the prince so closely? The public reaction was immediate and volcanic. Broadcasters from the BBC to Sky News pounced on the story. Could Prince William really have a secret child? The Rose scandal returns now with supposed photographic evidence. On social media, the hashtag William's secret child trended wildly as millions reacted with everything from fury to morbid curiosity. William watched the chaos from his office, his expression darkening as alerts cascaded across his phone. He recognized the move for what it was, an opening salvo aimed straight at his family's honor. But the follow-up strike was the true blow. Within hours, a manufactured diary appeared on an anonymous WordPress site set to self-erase after 24 hours, a digital falsehood produced by Eastern European hackers. The faux yellowed pages, the script mimicking the graceful slant of Kate's known handwriting, told a chilling tale. The fabricated entries claimed she had married William for access to power rather than from love, boasting of calculated gestures. Those kisses in St. Andrews were a performance, and crowing that with Diana's sapphire now on her finger she was destined to be queen. The media devoured it with glee. Headlines screamed fairy tale princess or calculated climbers, Kate Middleton, from commoner to future queen by design television panels, invited pundits and psychologists to parse supposed motives. This is the ultimate betrayal, one host intoned. Within 48 hours, the couple's public image began to fissure. Tabloids painted William as faithless and Kate as an ambitious imposter. While newspapers and networks profited the monarchy's most valuable currency, public trust quivered dangerously. That evening at Kensington Palace, dinner felt like a funeral. Conversation was absent. Only the metallic clink of cutlery marked the silence. Kate sat beside William, her complexion washed pale, and the usual sparkle in her blue eyes dimmed and rimmed with red from the strain of holding herself together. She gripped his hand beneath the table and whispered, voice trembling, "William, they're making me a joke. Those lines in that diary, they cut right through me. I can't bear it. What do we do, the children? What will they read when they're older?" William tightened his fingers around her hand, absorbing her pain as his own, and met her gaze with a voice that mingled fierce resolve and raw sorrow. "No, Kate. We won't let them win. This is Tom's filthy trick. I'll expose it." Yet beneath his promise was a private ache. Kate, who'd given everything to stand beside him, was being dragged through the mud he had vowed to shield her from. Later that night, as rain hammered the palace dome like a metronome of fate, an urgent knock sounded at the servants' gate, 3 cautious raps. Hayes opened with weapon ready. A rain-soaked figure stepped from the shadows, Marcus Johnson, once Tom's media aide, eyes hollow, and hands trembling, his trench coat plastered to his frame by the downpour. He pressed a tiny USB into Hayes's hand voice. Breaking as he confessed, "I worked for Tom, arranging press tips, hacking blogs. I thought it was just smoke and noise, but now he's boxed himself in. Camilla is merciless. Take this to the prince. Only he can stop what's coming." Inside the USB was a recording. Camilla's voice cold and scheming in a private conversation. "Remember, Tom, never let William take the initiative. If we plant doubt, he will destroy himself just like Diana." Hayes carried the device straight to William's study. Under the lamplight, William listened and let each syllable land like a blade. Fury flared hot and terrible. He crushed the plastic between his fingers until it protested his eyes hard as winter ice. "This ends now," he vowed. "Tom and Camilla, this has gone too far. You will pay." Outside, lightning ripped the black sky, a savage punctuation to the storm that was gathering to swallow the monarchy whole. William didn't storm into battle blindly. In the weeks since Tom's vicious campaign began, he'd moved like a chess player, every counterstrike measured, every silence deliberate. Behind the scenes, he'd already planted a shadow in Tom's world, James Croft, a young royal guard with an uncanny gift for disguise. Under the alias of a confidant, Croft had wormed his way into Tom's inner circle, drinking with him, laughing with him and recording everything through a pinhole camera hidden in a shirt button. Those recordings were William's sharpest blade. In one of them, Tom lounged in a dim Soho apartment, his face flushed with drink and arrogance. "Find a boy who looks like William, blonde hair, blue eyes, whatever he slurred. We'll make him Rose's secret son. Just plant the seed and watch the vultures feed." He laughed uproariously, tossing a mock diary onto the table. Here Kate married for the crown. Let them think she's an ambitious pretender. William will snap, and Kate will fall apart. Now those words, his own poison, sat before William like evidence in a trial. He watched the clip again and again, each viewing reopening the wound. It wasn't Tom's betrayal that gutted him most, it was knowing Camilla had encouraged it. When the screen went black, William made his choice. The time for silence was over. He ordered Tom to Windsor Castle, summoning him to a sealed chamber where monarchs had once signed treaties that reshaped nations. No attendance, no press, just the heir and his accuser with centuries of ghosts looking on. As Tom stepped in, the heavy doors slammed shut and lights flared to life. A large monitor flickered, his own drunken image appeared, voice echoing through the stone hall. "Stage the secret child. Fake the diary." Tom went ashen horror replacing his swagger. How did you get this?" He gasped, stumbling back. When he lunged toward the screen, the guards made no move. He hit only cold air. Panic melted into fury. "It's fake." "You're framing me, you sanctimonious bastard." William stepped forward, his tone glacial. "You think you're the only one who knows how to play dirty? I've been watching you since the night the guards opened your trunk. That wooden box, my diary, my mother's letters, they were real. But your fabrications, the photos, the diary, you turned my grief into your weapon." Tom's sneer quivered, breaking under the strain. "Grief," he spat. "You don't know grief. You have everything, Kate, children, a throne waiting, and me, I'm Camilla's bastard, the product of her shame. My father never claimed me. She promised I'd matter, she promised." The words collapsed into tears, revealing the lost child beneath the man's fury. But William didn't flinch. Instead, he played the next file, the recording of Camilla's icy voice. "Remember, Tom, never let William take the initiative. If we so doubt, he'll destroy himself." Silence fell. Tom froze, stricken, his face twisting in disbelief. You spied on my mother?" he stammered. "She was only protecting me." William's gaze softened with pity, yet burned with restrained anger. "No, Tom. Someone who worked for you gave me that recording because even they saw the truth. Camilla never protected you. She used you. The way she used my father. The way she used Diana's death to climb the throne. You've been her pawn all along." The words shattered whatever was left of Tom's restraint. With a roar, he lunged, fists flying. The struggle was brutal and raw, two men bound by family, divided by pain. "I'll never lose to you," Tom shouted, swinging wildly. "You have everything and I have nothing. She promised me everything." A blow struck William's shoulder. Another grazed his jaw. Blood welled at his lip. But William seized Tom by the collar, forcing him down against the cold stone. His voice, when it came, was low and final. "You don't lose because you have nothing, Tom. You lose because you chose deceit over truth, vengeance over forgiveness. You could have been free, but you chose to destroy. So hear this, you are no longer family. No titles, no estates, no name. That is the judgment of the crown." Tom lay sprawled on the floor chests, heaving eyes burning with tears and fury. "You'll regret this," he rasped. "Camilla won't forgive you." But even as he spoke, the fight drained from his voice. He understood Camilla had dealt him the losing hand long ago. William rose slowly, wiping the blood from his mouth. The victory tasted like ash. He turned without another word and left Tom in the dark chamber, the echoes of their struggle fading into the ancient walls. It was over, but the triumph felt colder than defeat. The reckoning broke like a tidal wave. William chose not to hide the truth. He released every piece of verified evidence to trusted media outlets with a clear instruction: report the facts. Protect the dignity of the crown. Within 24 hours, the entire narrative inverted. The daily scandal was unmasked. The so-called secret child was merely Oliver, the 7-year-old son of an ordinary Norfolk family paid $5,000 for staged photographs. In a televised interview, the boy laughed innocently. "I was just playing ball." Public outrage shifted swiftly, and headlines turned vicious. Royal wrecker Tom Parker Bowles and his dirty plot exposed. The fabricated Kate diary collapsed next. Experts from Oxford's handwriting laboratory issued a unanimous verdict: 100% forgery. Modern paper, laser-printed ink. The BBC broadcast Kate's live statement, her voice steady despite the tremor in it: "I love William because he's my husband, not because he's the future king." Though vindicated, she bore the invisible scars. The deceit had etched itself deep, a bitter echo she could not silence. Tom became the first fallen figure. Reporters besieged his former residence at Clarence House while he hid inside, blinds drawn, reputation in ruins. Endorsements were pulled, television contracts rescinded, and old friends melted away. Alone he sat, with the genuine sapphire ring, his one remaining relic, purchased through bribery and deceit, turning it over in his hands until tears stained the metal. "Mother, why did you leave me?" he whispered into the dark. Stripped of title and identity, he wandered the streets of London like a ghost. Camilla, the once invincible queen, suffered a quieter destruction. During a private meeting in Buckingham Palace's tea room, William entered with calm composure, masking the ice beneath. He placed a small recorder on the table. From it came her own voice, crisp and merciless: "If we so doubt, he'll destroy himself." The sound made her flinch. Her teacup slipped and shattered. For the first time in years, Camilla was speechless, hands trembling. "William, my son," she stammered, terror glinting behind her eyes. William's reply was low, unyielding. "I won't release it. If the world knew, the throne would collapse. But know this: every move you make will be watched. Don't cross me again." Camilla nodded, face pale, the mask of power cracking. From that day she remained outwardly regal, smiling beside Charles at ceremonies, but fear stalked her nights. The voice on that recorder haunted her dreams, ticking like an unseen bomb. She lived in the gilded cage she had built, half alive, half consumed by dread. Kate emerged cleared, yet her heart bore permanent bruises. Though the public believed her innocence, the forged words lingered in her mind like whispers from a mirror. "Do they still doubt me? Do they think it's true?" She clung to George, Charlotte, and Louis, whispering through tears to William, "I'll survive this, but it hurts so deeply." Her strength became quieter, fiercer, the endurance of someone who had paid the cost of loyalty. William remained standing, the defender, the heir, the victor, but he knew it was no triumph. He had protected his wife, dismantled Tom's conspiracy, and subdued Camilla, yet the family lay fractured. The monarchy survived, hollowed by mistrust. In a private audience, Charles clasped his shoulder, his tone heavy with fatigue. "Son," he said quietly, "I'm proud of what you've done, but we've lost something we can never reclaim." William said nothing, only bowed his head in solemn understanding. That night, Diana's words from her old letter returned to him like prophecy. "The throne doesn't belong to love, it belongs to those who master the truth." He watched Kate asleep beside him, brushing a strand of hair from her face. Tom was fallen. Camilla lived in silence. Yet the monarchy's shadow war endured, whispering through the corridors of power. Outside Windsor's walls, the autumn wind carried faint echoes of history's warning. Who will twist the truth next? Still, as William wrapped his arms around Kate, His whisper was firm, almost defiant. "We'll survive together. In a kingdom built on illusion, that was the only victory that mattered." Do you feel a chill down your spine thinking about betrayal from within the royal family? Do you think William truly won, or was it a victory laced with wounds? Share your thoughts with us in the comment section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.